New year, new academic you. Here's how to make the upcoming academic year your best one yet. Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Shaveen Bandardanayaka. At the end of every year, it's always good to look back, reflect, and consolidate the things that we've learned so that we can better ourselves moving forward. From the perspective of an academic, from the perspective of a student, or even a legal professional, it's always worthwhile to think of the things that we can improve on. This video is meant to give you a concise outline of the things that I believe that you need to inculcate not just this year or next year, but in the years to come. Now, the three aspects that I would impress upon you to inculcate into your academics and your professional career are those that I tend to tell my fast track and masterclass students constantly throughout the past 8 years. Most of whom have gone on to achieve second upper and first class law degrees in terms of their academics, some of whom are now practicing solicitors, barristers, and in some jurisdictions, members of parliament and judges as well. The first thing that I'd like you to inculcate going into the upcoming year is to write more. I cannot stress enough how important practice is. Regardless of the type of qualification that you're pursuing, or the institution or the university that you're currently enrolled in, and even the format by which you're assessed, you're going to have to write. Oftentimes, I've noticed even my fast track and masterclass students tend to focus heavily on the theoretical side by studying, by preparing, researching, and analyzing various principles of the law, but rarely, if ever, trying to translate that and put it down on paper. The danger of not doing so sufficiently is that when an examination comes around, or when an assignment submission or a summative assessment is around the corner, you don't have the necessary preparation in terms of articulating your thoughts. Have a look at the comprehensive workshop series available on the online law school platform. These workshops were conducted with students that went on to achieve second upper and first class law degrees. In the workshop series, we break down problem and essay-based questions and articulate responses at a second upper and in some instances even a first class level. Now, the reason why I say that is because law is subjective, and depending on the examiner's mindset in certain instances, the outcome might differ. That being said, make sure that you allocate more time in the upcoming year to write more. Put down on paper that which you've learnt. The second tip that I'd like to impress on you is to read smarter. On a number of occasions on this very YouTube channel, as well as the different platforms that the Law Simplified is disseminated on, I've tried to indicate why it's more important to be smart about what you read than to read more. What I mean by this is try and understand the principles of a particular area of black letter law and then associate the relevant components of theory around it. Oftentimes, students get bogged down and demotivated primarily because of the volume of material that might be there in one particular area. Chances are you're not going to need to read every nuanced aspect of something. You will need to know the core principles, the basic fundamental facts in terms of that principle. But beyond that, all you will need to know, at least at the very inception, is an understanding on how it applies to cases in terms of common law. Beyond that, anything else that you read, anything else that you try and absorb is a bonus. Now, by no means am I saying not to read anything whatsoever. On the contrary, I'm saying be smart about what you're reading, about the content itself and the sources that you're getting them from. Now, when I say read smarter, it also means trying to dissect large volumes of information in a relatively comprehensive yet less time-consuming manner. To this extent, I'd highly recommend having a look at the Fast Track as well as the Masterclass series available on my online law school platform. These have been developed over the past 8 years, having conducted thousands of hours of one-on-one sessions with students from all around the world. These comprehensive theory and tutorial lessons emphasize the importance of understanding certain elements of the law, which are not only essential to the understanding of that area, but also attach and append to it certain arguments that you might be able to leverage on to not just pass an examination, but ace it altogether. The third aspect that I'd like you to incorporate in the upcoming year, and this might seem quite subjective at that, is to have fun. What do I mean by this? Oftentimes, 9 out of 10 students that I encounter pursuing a career in law and presently in the academic component of it considers the LLB, the GDL, or any other academic qualification as being a chore to achieve, as a means to an end to a career, and then hopefully a lucrative one at that. But if you enjoy what you do, and if you enjoy the subject matter that you're presented with, it won't feel like a chore. And more often than not, you will actually exceed your own expectations in terms of what you are able to achieve academically. Most of the students that have gone on to achieve first-class law degrees and then go on to have successful careers in law are passionate about the areas that they're specializing in. Be updated on the latest advancements in law as well. Look up the metaverse, look up AI, look up robotics, things that might have a futuristic link to law. Study, research, and analyze these areas, because chances are you're going to have to talk about it, you're going to have to study on it, and maybe even incorporate it professionally later on in your career. If you have any other passion that you might have in relation to, let's say, accounting or marketing or management, try and find links from law to those areas as well. Because in the future, it's much better to have a supplemental area of expertise in order to show an employer that you're versatile in what you know and how you can achieve the endeavors that those employers are hoping to achieve as well. Parallel yourself to the mission and the vision statement of your employer, so to speak. Right. So just to summarize and consolidate the 3 tips that you should take with you to the upcoming year: write more, make sure you put pen to paper, articulate the ideas that you've learned, that you've understood, showcase to an examiner over time that you don't just know what the law is, but you have your own opinion on it. Read smarter. Don't just read everything. Try and isolate the ones that are relevant to the core black letter law, even the practice components, and then build on that. First get an understanding on what you're studying, and then research further. And then thirdly, and in my opinion, most importantly, have fun. Try and not just understand the law, but develop a passion for it. Start loving the law and the areas that it's burgeoning into, that it's developing itself into. Look into more developed aspects and more nuanced aspects of the law that are coming up, like AI, robotics, space law, for instance. Going into the next year, I hope incorporating these tips makes you a better academic and a legal professional. But wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until the next time that we speak, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.